My name's Daver and welcome to my shop. Somehow another month has already passed and it's time for another state of the shop video. I can't believe how fast this month went, but a lot is going on. Now I'm currently working on another build video and I'll show you that in a second, but while I'm doing that, I am also working on launching my own woodworking business and doing things to get prepared for that in September. Now there are many things that I am learning about starting my own business. Well, I should say my own woodworking business. I have had a business before, but it was in video production. Completely different. For my woodworking business, I'm doing a lot of things like getting the website prepared, getting photos of the products taken, getting product inventory made, things like that. And I'll be selling online and in a shop that sells local handmade goods. So I'm doing a lot to prep for that, so I actually have enough inventory so I'm not out of stock, which I guess would be a good problem to have. Now there are many things I did not think about when you have to put your products in a shop. Those things would be displays. Like, how do you display your products? I've been making some displays for cutting boards, and I know there's a billion cutting boards out there. I just think it's a good place to start. Another thing is something to hold your business cards. So I decided to make a business card holder out of some scrap Peruvian walnut that I had left over from a project I just finished, and it started out very promising. I had this scrap piece of walnut that I had used to practice using my branding iron on, and I thought I would kind of figure out how to make a business card holder with that because I already had the business branded on the side. Long story short, I ended up having to almost scrap the whole thing and start over. So in this mini build video, I'm going to make a business card holder out of some scrap Peruvian walnut. Now, I will say that this was going to be its own build video, but since I screwed it up, I decided to just put it in here. So I hope you enjoy. Now, this business card holder design is pretty simple. It's just two pieces in an L shape, and one side is the back and the other side will actually hold the cards. Now, to make it look a little less boring, I chamfered the edge and the top and the bottom of the holder. Just a side note, I know I did a review on this router table over a year ago, but I have to say that I do not like it anymore. Here I'm doing a test cut for the slot that will hold the business cards, just to make sure I got the depth right. For this cut, I'm using a 1/2 inch straight cutting router bit. Now, right here in the build, I was feeling pretty good, but I felt that there was too much room on the other side of the business card, so I decided to cut it down, and this is where I made my first grave mistake. I ended up cutting it too short and ended up gluing it back together with some Starbond CA glue. Now, this is just holding business cards, so I felt that this would be good enough, and when I eventually sanded it down, you could barely tell that there was a seam there. Now, at this point, my confidence had returned and it was time to sand. But this is when my second mistake occurred. I accidentally sanded off the logo. So I had to rebrand it, and I will kind of come back to my feelings on the second time branding the logo. Now, in order to attach these two pieces, I thought about just using CA glue, but I wanted to add some dowels just for extra reinforcement. Not that it needed it, but it would make me sleep better at night, I guess. I don't know. So I'm just using some dowels to connect the two pieces and make them lock in nice and securely. And I'm just doing a dry fit before I actually glue it all up. And I'm just using some Titebond Quick and Thick because, again, this doesn't really need to be that strong, I guess, of a joint. It's holding business cards, like they weigh nothing. Now, if you look closely enough, you'll notice that the new branded logo is a little bit too close to the edge, and that really bothered me. So I ended up just cutting it down to the size of a business card, and I think I can live with that. needless to say, I think I salvaged the actual piece, and I'll be using it until I redesign my business card holder and kind of update it in the future. So let's take a look at what I'm working on for my next build video. This is an outhouse for my dog. Now, it's not actually an outhouse, but I'm making a miniature version of an outhouse where I can put his pooper scooper for the yard, his like bags for cleanup, outdoor toys, anything related to my dog. This is what will go in here outside, and I'm trying to make it look like an outhouse. Now, for this project, my goal is to only use scrap wood that I had laying around in my shop. And a lot of this wood is from my early days as a woodworker. As you can tell, it is Home Depot Prime luxury wood, AKA 2x4s. This is construction grade lumber that I've just had in the shop from, you know, early projects where I was just kind of cutting my teeth on woodworking and building some shop furniture around here. I did a lot of resawing on my bandsaw to make these 2x4s 2x2s-ish, kind of, and frame out the outhouse. And then on the bottom, I had some scrap pressure treated 4x4s that I'm using because that will be in contact with the ground. It's a little wobbly. That is due to the floor not being level, but it's also due to using scrap wood, which is kind of all over the place. I've never really done any kind of framing before, and I know this doesn't need to be structurally sound, but I did my best to kind of adhere to some of the rules of framing and carpentry, if you will. Probably didn't do all the right things. Damn it. I tried to cut some bird's mouth into these rafters, and that was a disaster, but that'll all be in the video. So I'm very excited about this project. I was gonna use some pallet wood, but the pallet that I got with my Raycon bandsaw was just, I couldn't use it, and I did not really want to pull it apart. Not to mention, I'm running out of room in my shop, so I had to get rid of it. I just could not take the sight of it anymore, and I kept running into it, and I really hated that pallet at the end there, and it is no longer with us. So anyways, look for that video to be on my channel hopefully in the next few weeks. I gotta finish sheathing it, I gotta put a roof on it, and I gotta build a door for it. I'm excited about this build, and I can't wait to get it out of here because I need the room. As I mentioned earlier, I'm running out of some room in my shop, and I really need to figure out the best way to make this shop as productive as possible, especially if my business starts picking up. There's a potential for demand to go up significantly, I hope. However, when you're a part-time woodworker and you're doing a lot of your woodworking after work or on the weekends, you want to capitalize on your time as much as possible. And the best way to do that is making your space flow. So one thing I really need to focus on after I finish the doggy outhouse is rearranging the shop to make it flow as smoothly as possible so I can batch out different products, mill up boards, move them over to the different tools, and assemble and glue and finish and do all of that stuff. I loosely put stuff in the shop where I think it will work best, but I have found that I am running into things and I have to go back and forth 10 different times. Great for my steps, but not for making the most of the time that I have in the shop, which is very limited. So I want to maximize any kind of potential that I would have in here. So if you have any tips or suggestions, please share those in the comments. Another thing that I have added to the shop, well, I didn't really add, I reallocated the item, which is this shelf right here. There was a bunch of other stuff on it that I kind of dispersed and moved into other locations so I could use that for products. So on the bottom shelf, I'll have just kind of the rough lumber that I need, and then as it goes up, it will go up in the stages of production, I guess. The great thing about this is that I paid nothing for it. The previous homeowners left it, and I know you can find these things on Facebook Marketplace. So if you're looking for cheap storage, just look at Facebook Marketplace, or maybe ask my previous owners of this house if they have any at their new house, and if they're moving out, they could leave it for you. You never know. For this month's segment of shop stuff, I purchased this Starbond CA glue. It's clear. I normally use the black CA glue, but I decided to get the clear glue. I am not sponsored by Starbond. This stuff is great, especially with the accelerator, but as a woodworker, you have so many tools that you can use outside of woodworking, and you also have all of the glues. I actually used this on a new pair of Reeboks that I bought, and within the first day of buying these awesome Reeboks, the soles came off. Now, the sole was translucent, and that is where clear Starbond CA glue came into play. And it worked like a charm. So again, not sponsored, but this is something not sponsored, but this is something that I picked up that I never thought I would use on my shoes or anything else outside of the shop. And that is the one thing that's like really cool, that is an added benefit to being a woodworker, is that you have like all the tools that you could use for other things. All right, well, that is all I have for this month's State of the Shop. I hope you enjoyed this video just for pure entertainment's sake. And I hope you look forward to my next build video, which hopefully will be out in early September of 2022. Whenever you're watching this, if you're watching this after that time, obviously it's out. Or is it? I don't know. Future me will be able to confirm that. And I hope it's a fun video for everybody. I know I'm having a fun time making it. No. And I also appreciate you following along this journey. I started doing this woodworking thing and the YouTube thing just kind of as a way to document my woodworking journey and growth. I didn't think I'd start a business about 2 years later, and I'm really excited and nervous to see where it goes. And I will do my best to take you along with me if you're trying to do the same thing. So now I got a YouTube journey, a woodworking journey, and a woodworking business journey. So there's a lot of irons in the fire, but I'm very, very excited, and I want to do my best to be transparent about it and share that with anybody who is interested in any of those things. So I appreciate you watching. I appreciate the support. And until next time, take care.